This food parcel scandal, no other way to describe it, which has erupted, where you have contracted out responsibility to private companies for sending food to the poorest families in the country, driven into this by Marcus Rashford, to his great credit. And this, which I'm showing here, is what they deemed was enough for a family for 1 week of food. This is a loaf of bread, 2 satsumas, 2 slices of ham, a dark apple, 1 tin of baked beans, 2 baking potatoes, 5 slices of cheese, and inexplicably 5 bottles of water. This is a complete disgrace, Health Secretary, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, absolutely. The company have apologised for what they've sent out, and I'm really glad this surfaced on social media. And some people complain about social media, but I think this is one of the upsides.
Why are they sending out any water at all in these parcels?
Like you, I've got absolutely no idea.
Have you banned them? Have you now said to them no more water to be sent out?
Well, I'm glad they've apologised. They've clearly got to up their game.
Yeah, but you're the Health Secretary, and this is the health of the poorest kids in the country. You are allowed to say to them, I don't want to see another bottle of water in any of these parcels again.
Use your money more wisely.
I want to see good, high-quality food. I'm really glad that we're able to send out food for those who receive free school meals when schools are in. And I'm really glad that we're able to do that when schools are out.
If you're that glad, can I just ask you a difficult question? Why did you vote against it?
Well, I'm really glad we were able to put it into place.
Yeah, but if you're that glad about being able to put it into place, again, why did you, as Health Secretary, vote against this?
Well, because the reason that I'm glad now is because we've been able to sort that out and put it in place.
Well, the reason you're glad now is that you got shamed.
No, thanks to you.
Let's be honest, you got shamed into it by a football player, a young football player with a conscience, who managed to prick the conscience of you and the government. Do you regret now, given how glad you are that it's now happening, do you regret voting against it?
Well, of course, I'm pleased that we're making sure that.
That wasn't the question. I asked if you regretted. But hang on, it's a very important question because you wouldn't have done it without Marcus Rashford campaigning. My question for you is, given how glad you now are that it's happening, do you regret voting against it? Is it yes or no?
Well, as I say, I'm really glad that it's happening.
But do you regret it? Do you regret voting against it?
Well, I'll put it this way. In the first lockdown, we took this action. And now, as you say, we're in a second.
Health Secretary, you only have to say yes or no, whether you regret it. You either regret it or you don't.
Well, I'm really glad that the situation's been resolved.
So you regret voting against it?
I'm really glad it's been resolved and we've sorted it out. And I'm going to use my own words to describe my own feelings on this one.
So you won't answer the question?
Well, it's that I'm answering the question, and I'm really glad that we've sorted.
Well, let's just hope going forward we don't rely. Let's just hope we don't have to rely, as we have to again this week, on Marcus Rashford to once again expose the iniquity of this system, because these kids are in lockdown, they're suffering, they're hungry, and they need support, and they need proper support from you as Health Secretary and the government.